Thank you, Manoj, for those opening words. It's my honor to be a part of the OPPI Annual Summit. I would like to thank Mr. KG Anandakrishnan for encouraging me to participate and have an opportunity to interact with you and share my thoughts. I also must say that I enjoyed listening to Ms. Shamika Ravi, just completed her talk. And it's always good to have perspectives from different sources when one is working in a particular sector or engaging with an industry. So, with those words, I'd like to say that I'm happy with OPPI to be with OPPI this afternoon, and I would like to just share a few thoughts which may be useful for you going forward, and also useful for realizing this ambition of reimagining the healthcare needs and sector in the coming decade. It is right for us, not just because it's 2020, but what a 2020 it has been, right? So it has given us, to use a pun, the benefit of hindsight. And given every individual, I would say, but certainly every organization, every country, every company, to have a very hard look at the way they have been conducting their business or their activities or their lives, and think about how we need to change the way we do things if we want to live in harmony with the natural world in a sustainable manner and provide the quality of life that should be the right of every individual on this planet. I think that can be considered as the guiding principle for reimagining the healthcare needs over the next decade. We saw that a health emergency would, would impact not just the health of individuals, but the health of society, the health of economies. And we had, I think, to put in huge efforts over the last 8 to 9 months to protect the poorest, the most vulnerable in our countries, as well as those in the developing world. In this context, the twofold agenda of universal healthcare and affordable healthcare becomes very important, in my view, and the role that the pharmaceutical sector can play in achieving these two goals, which are also reflected in the Sustainable Development Goals 2030 of the United Nations, is very critical and essential. Sometimes the pharmaceutical sector does become the recipient of brickbats because it is seen as a sector that has made huge strides, has grown a lot, and perhaps not as transparently as one would like. But on the other hand, I think the pharmaceutical industry has also deservedly received praise for being able to come up with innovative solutions to tackle those issues that provide the most pain to human beings, whether it is disease, whether it is large epidemics, or disability. And therefore, I am very, very sure that OPPI will continue to pursue this within their mandate of looking at innovation, recognizing unmet needs, bringing in new technology into the country, new solutions, new products. I hope that India can continue to be a destination of choice for your principles, for the global pharma players, for the very obvious advantages that India offers, both as an economic entity, as a nation, and as a market. You are, of course, aware that the Indian pharmaceutical sector is very well developed. It is third largest in terms of volume. Exports are 13th or 14th in terms of value. And it has rightly earned the name of being the pharmacy of the world. And the sector that is in India, I think, has gained the reputation of providing quality medical products at affordable prices. This is not a twin offering that is possible in every situation. But the Indian pharma sector has managed it, and we are very proud to include those foreign players who have their manufacturing plants in India to be a part of this ecosystem, to be a part of what we proudly call the Indian pharmaceutical sector. The other advantage, of course, is the large market, which is growing. It is, of course, a 1.3 billion population in this country. But I think what is important to recognize is that the healthcare spending is still in its growth phase and it can only go up. So we expect to see higher spending by health on healthcare, both in the public sector as well as in the private sphere. This again gives hope that there is a lot that can be achieved in the direction of universal healthcare, particularly in India. The second aspect regarding the growing market is the growing middle class, the steady increase in the purchasing power, the growth of the private sector as a provider of healthcare, and most importantly, the government's support through the Ayushman Bharat mission, which is unparalleled in scale and size, in scope. I'm sure that the Ayushman Bharat mission will cover 500 million people in the country during the course of its existence. This is far larger than any similar healthcare initiative in any part of the world. And I believe it offers an opportunity to scale up, reduce costs, bring down prices, and move closer towards the affordability goal. And I am very, very sure that the OPPI, with the worthies that are present here, with the very active support of the Secretariat held, led by Ananthakrishnan will work towards this cause. There is often some criticism that the uh, medicines or the medical products or the drugs that are brought in are out of reach of the common man. But I hope that everybody understands that if we grow the market, if you find and meet demand, you can bring down prices. And that is what effectively we will be tracking in terms both of the reach as well as the affordability. COVID has been an eye opener for many of us. And we have seen that now the world is looking at how to mitigate risks, such as we saw in the COVID's worst days. I hope they were the worst days in early 2020. And now there is a distinct move towards diversification of supply chains. In this context, I think India again scores very high as a market, as a destination where investment can provide that diversification which is being sought by all major global companies. It can provide the capacity to ramp up production at a very fast speed. It provides the opportunity for low-cost innovation. In this context, I would request all of you to recall that in a very short period, Indian pharma sector ramped up production of essential drugs, essential pharma products like ibuprofen, hydrochloroquine, paracetamol, and we were able to supply over 150 countries from this one place. And that is a tribute to the capacity that we have in the Indian pharma sector to respond effectively, not just to a national need, but to global requirements, particularly during emergencies and at very high speeds. We also saw very successful collaborative efforts through voluntary licensing between members of the OPPI and the local manufacturers that enabled again the Indian pharma sector to provide essential drugs required for therapeutic use in the COVID pandemic across the globe. And that was a very good example where we found collaborative synergy between the foreign patented drugs and the capacity of local manufacturers to ramp up at speed at low cost. I do hope that this kind of a collaborative approach will continue and we will try to think and act as one entity wedded to a single goal, and that goal being affordable healthcare and effective healthcare, not just for the Indian population, but as far as we can reach. This would be my request to you. There are some challenges, of course. Those challenges are in the regulatory sphere, they are in terms of capacity, they are in terms sometimes of logistics cost. But I am sure that the government is committed to provide better and better ease of doing business. In this instance, I can certainly say that in India, you have the proof of the pudding. You have seen for yourself the improvement in the ease of doing business over the last 4 to 5 years, where there have been huge uh, improvements in ranking, but also in the experience of industries when they negotiate the necessary regulatory governance. The opportunity, as I said, is already there, and government is committed to supporting the pharma sector to enable its potential to meet this opportunity. So you will be all happy to know that the government has committed close to $4 billion over the next 5 years in support for the pharmaceuticals and medical devices sector. So we have essentially three-pronged approach for supporting the sector as of now, and I'm sure that there will be many more aspects to the strategy that will unfold in the days to come. The first, of course, is the establishment of large-scale bulk drug parks in across the country. We have already received applications, and we will soon be approving the setting up of large-scale bulk drug parks, each of them covering at least 1,000 acres. The second is the production linked incentive, where government is incentivizing producers, manufacturers, both existing as well as new investors, both domestic investors as well as FDI, come in and enhance the manufacturing capabilities of India. Again, huge potential lies which can be fully leveraged, and ensure that we can build global champions from out of India that can service the entire country, of course, but also help the pharma sector to penetrate and integrate global value chains. So this again is a huge effort where close to about 22,000 crores are being provided to the sector. Take this opportunity and move from the generic drug, let's say, characteristic to more complex drugs, to biopharmaceuticals, into biologicals, into phytopharmaceuticals, into complex excipients, into gene therapy, cell therapy, and patented drugs. I believe there are opportunities here for the OPPI members and the pharma sector at large to exploit and join this momentum which is being created for the pharma sector in the after the experience of COVID-19 pandemic. In this context, I would like also to point out that we really expect, and this I come to the third prong of the strategy that we have with us right now, we respect the technological capabilities that OPPI members bring to India. And we would really welcome most sincerely, I would say, and very enthusiastically, a greater participation of OPPI members, global players in the R&D ecosystem in the pharma sector in India. Although there are several members who have very large R&D establishments in the country, I do believe that there is an opportunity for every single pharma player come into India, set up larger R&D manufacturing R&D establishments, particularly looking at the huge avenues available here in terms of a growing market, but also the skilled manpower that India has at relatively lower cost. So we have, I think, in the range of 225,000 pharmacy students passing out of our institutions on an annual basis. This is a huge pool of skilled manpower that can be used for grounding and localizing R&D in the country, which will, I believe, be essential and necessary to take the Indian pharma sector to the next level, where they become more competitive, more innovative, bring in larger new products, new drugs, and fulfill the potential both of the market and of the sector that we have here in India. As I mentioned, it is already a $40 billion industry. We hope that we will be able to reach the level of $120 billion over the next decade, and that will happen only if we make greater investments in R&D and innovation. Government is ready to work with industry and with regulators to provide the ecosystem that will be supportive of R&D and low-cost innovation. I look to the industry to come forward and avail of this opportunity and ensure that we are able to utilize all the three prongs of the strategy, all the three arms of the strategy, that is enhancing manufacturing capabilities, investing in infrastructure, and ensuring a high share of R&D in the products that we bring to the market as a pathway to achieving reimagined, affordable, accessible, and quality healthcare for all in India. Thank you so much. I must thank again Manoj and also Ananthakrishnan, who is here. I see Professor Y.K. Gupta is also here on this call. He is a guiding force for us in the department. I am sure that you will enjoy listening to him in the panel discussions. I have looked at the subjects that have been kept for discussion over the next 2 days, and I'm very impressed that OPPI is planning to cover a great range of subjects, from finance to quality to technology. I hope you will also be talking about the cutting edge technology that is required in the pharma sector to ensure that we can minimize risks not only to patients but also to the environment as we go about the business of providing affordable healthcare. So, with these words, I will wish the organization all success in this summit. I will wish you all the best for the new year and hope that it will be a year of hope and well being for all of us. Thank you so much.